Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. This is episode 668 of Cognitive Dissonance.
Anything big happen this week, Tom?
Yeah, it just, some major upheaval in the community. So,
Jesus Christ.
we don't want to spend a lot of time on this. There's plenty of spaces where people can go and interact.
Yeah.
But we do want to address the article that came out from Religion News Services with respect to sexual misconduct allegations by Andrew Torres.
Yeah.
With respect to that situation, there's a feeling, I think, within our community that we're all personally connected.
Yeah.
Because our shows exist within the same periphery.
Sure.
Right. And that is a fair but inaccurate understanding. Right. So I just want to make clear from our side of the world that Andrew is somebody that we have worked with on a handful of fundraising events, and we've met him at a handful of conferences.
Yeah, that's the extent of our relationship. We don't talk.
We're
just not like he's not our lawyer.
He's not our lawyer.
He's never been part of our group.
He's not in our personal social circle. He's not our lawyer. We don't have a contract with him. He's not part of our company.
Yeah.
We don't work with him. He's not part of Citation Needed.
He was never part
He's
of
not part of
Citation Needed.
CogDis.
He's not part of
He's
CogDis.
not part of Dear Old Dads.
Yeah.
So we have no relationship with Andrew Torres. When we were approached by Aaron Rabinowitz weeks ago with information about the sexual misconduct allegations, we offered help, including financial aid to those that were involved. We took it very seriously, and we offered to help.
Yeah, and to add really quickly, nobody came to us but Aaron.
Right.
Aaron came to us.
Aaron is the person who came to us to make it known.
And as soon as he did, our response was, what can we do to help?
Yep.
And we helped him find resources and offered to pay for a lawyer. Yep. That's what we offered to do.
That was the extent of our connection there. That said, the situation itself is unacceptable.
It is.
Our community and every community deserves safe spaces that are inclusive for everybody.
Agree.
And to the extent that in any part of our community, not ours, hopefully not the CogDis family,
I know,
right?
Yeah.
But, to the extent that any community has become unsafe, that is a deeply tragic and unpleasant place to be in. And our hearts go out to everybody involved.
I agree. A couple years ago, we ran an event. Mm-hmm. We did the pizza party.
We did.
And we very intentionally, when we ran that, wanted to make sure it was a very safe space for people.
For sure.
And we did our very best to make sure that it was a safe space. It's the only event that we ever ran, right?
Yes.
But we actually went into it with that idea that we wanted it to be a very safe space for people. And so we recognize that this is a terrible situation. But genuinely, this isn't a person who we're connected to. We just aren't connected to.
There's a thing called a segue. It gets you from one topic to the next one. You look into it.
See, so I almost didn't believe this story. I found it in a couple of places. I'm going to actually read a big chunk of this article because you just have to hear it. Florida panel recommends forcing student athletes to give students their menstrual history.
Why?
This is happening, guys. This is not this is an Onion article.
I know a lot of people, when they talk about the rise of just dictatorships and fascism and terror and all that, they don't think it, but they should be thinking DeSantis.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? And really we should be thinking about it in a way that's it's a terror if he gets to be president in 2 years.
DeSantis as president would be as tragic or worse than Trump.
He's a scary motherfucker.
You cannot underestimate the horror that this country would fall under with a President DeSantis. Yeah. I think he is easily the most racist current major politician.
And he's the one who is boldly putting racist and shitty policies into place in the face of everyone he is civilized in the world.
Yeah, he's campaigning on his own racism.
You're right, absolutely.
He is campaigning on his own misogyny. He is campaigning on trying to galvanize the worst parts of the right.
The very worst parts.
And he's doing a good job. And that's what makes him frightening.
Yeah, there are people there. There's a group of people there that fucking love him. He won.
Yeah, man. He didn't win by a little.
He didn't eat by.
No. The Florida High School Athletics Association is standing by its decision to require student athletes to give their schools detailed information about their periods, an unprecedented policy raising major concerns about privacy. The FHSAA announced in October it was changing its annual physical form. So when you're a student athlete, you got to turn in a physical, right? That basically the reason you have to turn in a physical to the school is to say, I went to a doctor and they said I can play this sport and I'm not going to die, right? I'm not going to fucking drop dead.
Right.
That's the only extent that the school should fucking be involved.
Sure.
Right? But no. The form includes optional but detailed questions about students' menstruation cycles, including when they got their first period, when they had their most recent one, and how many weeks pass between each period. Previously, only one page of the paper form on which a pediatrician would sign off on a student being allowed to play. The only relevant information the school needs. What the fuck does the school need to know when these young ladies are having their fucking periods and how many days their typical cycle is and when their last period was? Their only reason to track that is nefarious. You cannot come up with a non-nefarious reason.
Yeah, I don't know what. The only reason you're tracking that is because you want to know whether or not they're, that they're pregnant or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
man.
There's a reason why you're doing it. And it's not because you just are curious.
Right. That's super weird, intimate information. It's such, and I know I'm not swayed by the optional piece either, right? You put this on an official form and people feel compelled by the officiality,
Yes, there you go.
I got it.
I think that's the right word.
I don't know what the right word
You're
is.
an English major.
It's been a week, Cecil. I've had a long week. My stress is very high. I don't know what the right word is, but people feel compelled by the fact that it's on an official form.
Sure, no.
To fill it out.
Yeah.
And the fuck does a school administrator need to know when a fucking 13-year-old girl's last period was and that it's 29 days before her
They don't need to know that shit.
That is such intimate information.
And they have a really, 15 weeks there? 15-week abortion is the limit, I think, there. Yeah. Is that what it is?
You know that's what it's driving at.
That's what it's for. I mean,
that's what it's driving at. This is a horror. And, you want to talk about the right. I don't even know if they beat this drum anymore. And correct me if I'm wrong. But for the longest time, the right beat the drum of being the party of small government.
Yeah.
And I actually don't know that they still beat that drum. But if anybody was tempted to give that drum a thwack this day and age, I cannot see how you could say, well, look, we're the party of small government, but I want to know when your fucking 13-year-old daughter last had her fucking menstrual cycle. What could be more intimate?
Yeah, man.
I would not ask my closest female friends that information.
Yeah, I can't.
For real.
You're right.
I have women in my life that I have been close friends with for 10, 15 years. There's no world. One, it's none of my fucking business. I wouldn't be curious about it. I'm not a weirdo.
Yeah.
But also, even if something, that information is just too intimate for me to ask. And so to require it of teenagers, man, that's creepy.
Are you going to put it on job applications now too?
Part of me wants everyone to just write it on everything. On everything. On everything, Cecil.
Everybody just walks around with those slashes and the thing on it or whatever. It has
0 days since my last period or whatever.
That's unbelievable, Tom.
Holy shit. What a fucking mess. What a misogynist
It's a fucking nightmare.
Mess.
But it's Florida, and you got to expect that.
Yep.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
Okay, can we change subject, perhaps?
This story comes from Queerty. Creepy new details emerge about drag-hating senator whose GOP colleagues mysteriously turned on her last week.
This could have made the weird news segment.
This could have.
It's very close.
This could have.
It's really close.
I actually thought the same thing.
It's really close.
Again, same thing.
Yeah.
This is one of those that you got to just read because it's so bizarre.
Yeah.
And I will actually miss details because it's just so fucking bizarre. So new details have emerged about Julie Fry-Mueller, the anti-LGBTQ, ultra-conservative, rank-and-file Republican state senator from South Dakota, who was inexplicably stripped of her legislative power last week. Fry-Mueller's GOP colleagues voted to suspend her rights as an elected official and create a committee to investigate serious allegations lodged against her by an unnamed legislative staffer. At the time, no additional information was given as to why they were taking such extreme actions against one of their own. We now have a better idea. Then it launches into this fucking bizarro world encounter. As it turns out, Fry Mueller allegedly offered unsolicited advice to a woman about breastfeeding her baby son that went way beyond what most people would consider appropriate workplace conversation. This is genuinely, guys, this is insane. I'm going to read you a story.
Yeah, just read it. Just read it. Go.
In a statement released yesterday, the woman alleged, I was told by Senator Fry Mueller that my husband could suck on my breast to get the milk to come in. She indicated a good time for that is at night. But it doesn't stop there.
Jesus, what do you have like a Kickstarter on your back to get it all moving?
What? Oh, and the best time for him to suck on your breast would be at night. But look, if milk is going to come in and that's the way you're going to get your milk to come in, I don't think the clock is the issue. Oh, hey, hold on a minute. You know what? It'll only work if it's, what are you, a gremlin? You can only suck on the titties after midnight?
What a weird conversation to have with someone in the first place.
Yes,
right? Unsolicited conversation in the first place, but then to be like, by the way, I know this great way that it works.
Look.
And then you're the person is kind of looking quietly around the room to try to exit the conversation as quickly as possible.
I'm not trying to purport to be a fucking lactation expert, right? Yeah. So maybe that works. I don't know. But I also know that's something you don't tell strangers. Hey man, you know what would help is if your husband sucked on your titties. But it has to be after the sun is down.
Yeah.
What in the shit is that? That is the weirdest shit ever. Maybe keep that to, I don't even care if it works.
Yeah.
That's a weird keep it to yourself moment where you're like, well, I'll let her doctor actually give her advice on how to fucking lactate.
Oh, God.
So weird. Apparently, Fry Mueller went on to a graphic demonstration on how to do it.
Okay, see, now that's where you're going. It's a little too far.
This is
a little too far.
All too far. It doesn't stop there. She proceeded to provide hand gestures in her chest area and motioned to her husband to see if he agreed. And he smiled and nodded like, yup, dem's the titties. That's how you suck them.
What the fuck?
What?
This is a congressperson in a state senate.
As if that wasn't creepy enough, the woman also alleged that Fry Mueller warned her against having her baby son vaccinated, saying this will cause him issues, including giving him Down syndrome. You cannot get a vaccine which changes the number of chromosomes.
It feels like a lot.
That's the vaccines aren't that powerful. It's fucking autism and causing him to die from these vaccines. Yeah. Then she alleged that feeding babies formula made them guinea pigs for big pharma and warned the woman that she was taking away God's gift of immunity from her son.
So much. I cannot tell you how much I hate
Throw her in a
person.
fire.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like it gets weird, but then it's just and then it just falls into straight up boring conspiracy at the end.
Yeah,
it's just okay, yeah, this person is clearly a nutcase. But the rest of it is just you're a senator. Where do you think even I have to go through these weird workplace, this is proper touching stuff.
Right, yeah, right.
I can't imagine, what do you click on the fucking downloadable compliance thing to be yes, I can show someone how titties work or whatever at work.
Well, yes, thank you. In my company, we have the same as your company. Right? There's sexual harassment and compliance and ethics training. And yes, is it repetitive and self-evident? I always thought so, but clearly it isn't actually self-evident because a state senator is you know what would be really welcome is some bizarre, insane world advice.
Man. This is people are getting elected.
Yeah.
They're getting elected. They're insane people, and they show up and they win enough votes to be in charge of part of a state.
These people are far too powerful for the messages that they have.
Hard
right?
agree.
Look at this is somebody that I would have thought, Cecil, when we started this show 15, 16 years ago, somewhere around there, I would have genuinely thought, all right, well, the world is weeding these people out. Right? It felt like the world was beginning to weed those kind of people out. Not only has the world not weeded those people out, but those people are becoming more numerous and more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being deeply, deeply wrong about some of the easiest, most settled questions in scientific history
I know, man.
is no longer disqualified.
I know. And these people they walk right in. They walk right in.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
This story comes from the New York Times. Forget pandemic puppies, meet the inflation chicken.
Is it one of those wacky, wavable, inflatable chickens? Just keep inflating.
It's just got its like fucking wings be like flopping around.
Shitting out big rubber eggs or whatever.
I would buy the shit out. I would buy the shit out of that and I would mic it or I would fucking, so it's just like, or whatever sound. Is that what sound chickens make?
Maybe. Sure.
I actually right now don't remember what sound a chicken. Gabagool. Yeah, they're all sopranos. Yeah, they're all soprano.
That's all they make.
When they sing, they're all soprano.
So this story, this is one of those stories that like, there's a lot going on in this story. But, you know, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about it was because it's something that we were talking about a couple weeks ago where, you know, Bernie Sanders came out and said something like, you know, there's a bunch of these companies that are trying to profit off of the avian flu by raising their prices and not reporting any avian flu problems. And, you know, this article, I think, you know, like very often what we've got to say is like, yeah, there's a lot of other factors, but one of the factors that needs to be addressed is corporate greed.
Yeah,
like one
100%,
one of the factors has to be corporate greed. I get it. You want to say, yeah, there's a problem with inflation and there's a problem with certain things that get spiked early in inflation and the way inflation works and when they raise this. And this article goes into great detail to tell you why the prices of eggs go up. But one of the things that you've got to focus on is the corporate greed that drives those prices.
Yep. You know, it's at the same time that all this is happening, the major agricultural companies that are in charge of and selling the eggs that are produced, they are reporting record profits. So what they try to blame this on is, our expenses went up. Well, if your expenses go up, your revenue needs to go up. But if your expenses, like, let's say you make on every carton of eggs in the world before, right? In the before times, a carton of eggs, 18 eggs was about $1.99.
Yeah.
Now, locally for us, now the New York Times reports the number way lower than what I can buy eggs for, right?
Yeah, no.
Now, I bought eggs literally yesterday for $6 for 18 eggs, and I got the cheapest, like, not good eggs, right? You'd spend $8, $9 now on 18 eggs, right? Yes. So it's the prices have gone from $2 well past $4 into $6. They've increased just dramatically.
Yes.
But if you had an acceptable profit line on $1.99 of, say, $1, let's say your margin was 50%. What companies are doing now is they're raising their prices as their expenses go up to preserve not their profit, but their margin.
Yeah.
And when they do that, their total profit in whole dollars goes through the roof. Yeah. Because if you were making 50% profit on $2, you made $1. And that was an acceptable business strategy. Now, instead of saying, well, now we got to charge $3 to make $1, now they're saying, well, we'll charge $3 to make $1.50. And they've made 50% more. Now they're charging $6 to make $3. They're preserving the margin side of the equation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're letting them do it.
Yeah.
And we're letting them blame it on expenses, right?
Yeah.
We're listening as if it's real to this bullshit argument where they say, well, you know, our expenses, labor costs have gone up. Fine. Yeah. Okay. But you are preserving your margin.
Yes.
You are not preserving your initial dollar value profit line. And when you preserve your margin, you're raising the prices well in excess of what you need to.
Yeah.
That's fucking, that's grifting.
Yeah.
That's just
literally
stealing.
grifting. It's literally grifting. And, you know, the problem is that we don't have any way to prevent them from doing this. There's nothing
crazy.
There's nothing in the government that stops them from doing this. All the things that might have stopped them was probably taken out in the 80s, right? It was probably all taken out in the 80s and 70s to stop them from doing this. And so what we have is we have this system that keeps on revving itself up. You know, I think about labor in the sense that I think about like when people, when companies complain about, you know, workers missing work, and you're like, you guys don't staff well enough.
Right.
That's not on the workers who miss work. That's, you know, it's natural for someone to miss work. It is a natural thing that happens and should be expected. But what happens is we are tragically understaffed in this country.
Yep. We build every company. And part of this, we've talked about this before. Part of this is because it's all bullshit if a company exists in order to produce a quarterly stock gain, right? So companies are incentivized not for long-term success, but for short-term success, which means that they are structurally required to produce profits at an increasing level year over year. Every company, if you made $1 billion last year, you can't make $1 billion this year. Your company didn't grow. Inflation cuts into the value of that $1 billion. Now $1 billion is a less acceptable term. You now have to produce $1.005 billion or whatever the dollar value is, right? So companies we've created this incentive structure, which makes it impossible for companies to be beholden to these shareholders and to produce quarterly profits and to not look at long-term success and to do all of that at the expense of the worker. Your point is exactly right. When you staff a business, what everybody does is what's the minimum number of people I can have to get the job done? And then if somebody gets sick, what we'll do is just overwork everybody else. Or their work will, while they're gone, or their work will stack up, right?
Exactly. When you want to go on vacation, I know when I want to go on vacation, I've got to do 2 or 3 weeks worth of work if I want to take a single week off. Because when I come back, all that work that piled up during that week, I've got to now do that. So I've got to catch up. So if I don't get ahead before I leave, I'm really behind when I come back. And that's natural for so many people in this country. And I work a salary job, right? What about those people who get stuck on like a shift? And you know, you read all this stuff nowadays about how managers nowadays are not, they're making these people who work for them do this work of being a manager to find people to cover and all that. I mean, it's like such a mess that we've created, and we let corporations get away with it all the time. You should have people who are ready to go. There should be enough people on your staff, so that should never happen. So that your business runs seamlessly. And if you just so happen that you paid somebody a little extra and they weren't working their ass off while they were doing it because you overstaffed a little, that's okay. That's okay, because you were ready for a problem that didn't occur, and that's good. But if you always are understaffed, the problem will occur and you're going to be fucked, or at least your workers.
Well, that's the thing is that you are probably at the higher levels, you're probably not fucked, right?
Yeah, you'll be fine.
You're fine because the pressure pushes down to the bottom. It's also the case that more and more, and I know this is like, these are more privileged jobs, but more and more when you do leave the office, you don't have 9 to 5 hours or 9 to 6 hours or because you have a cell phone, you have email, and you're expected at all times, day and night, to at the very least be monitoring that, right? And when you go on vacation, I will raise my hand. When I go on vacation, I 100% have to bring my company phone, and I 100% need to check that phone every day.
Sure. I have to check email too.
How on vacation are you if you are still beholden at every time? Oh, so I got to do my prep before I'm gone. When I'm gone, still be a little
still tethered. Be available. You might have to take a phone call.
You know what? This is actually important.
I got to check my email throughout the day. I might have to take a phone call. I may have to go online and change something online.
Right. Do you travel with your computer?
I do. Every single time I have to, because someone's going to call me from the office and be like, I can't fix this thing. You need to fix it.
Right.
And then I got to fix it.
Right. And those are, to be very clear, those are privileged jobs, right? The work creep has really like reached its fucking arms around everybody.
Everything.
The average American work week, last time I looked, which was a while ago, and it's probably worse now, is over 45 hours a week.
Yeah.
People are getting fucked. They are just absolutely getting fucked on all sides by this. And part of the problem, I don't even know, like, this is like this fucking pipe dream shit, but like, why the fuck can we buy stock in companies?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it really, it's
like, why?
So,
what is this created that it benefits us?
It doesn't. It only benefits the very ultra rich. And I will say this too, like you look at the profit margin on all these companies, and then you look at how hard the workers are working.
Yeah, man.
And not being able to get sick days, not being able to take a day off, and these companies are making record profits.
Crazy
and
profits.
That's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. And the egg thing is that, like, I know that we sort of jumped off a little bit talking about labor a little bit on the egg thing, but really genuinely, corporate greed is the source of a lot of problems in this country, and it needs to be addressed.
It does, because, and a corollary to the egg thing is that when gas prices were at their peak, so were oil profits.
Yep. No, you're absolutely right.
So it's not like you can't listen to them. I just want to iterate this point. You cannot listen to them when they tell you that the reason for inflation, when the reason you are paying more at the pump or at the grocery store, the reason is not, avian flu. The reason is not, the supply chain problems. None of those reasons are real as long as corporations are raking in record profits. Meaning if they've made more money than ever before, then the problem is not an expense side problem.
Yeah.
It's not. They're lying and they are stealing from us.
So if that happens,
we lose.
This story also from the New York Times. Republicans assail vaccine and mandates with misleading claims.
We should just read their claims here real quick and then read the.
Absolutely. So Dr. Walensky, the CDC director, said in August of 2021, quote, what they can't do, they being the vaccines, what they can't do anymore is prevent transmission. The CDC's own website says right now the vaccine does nothing for transmission, zero. Yet that was the whole basis of the vaccine mandate. Well, not really.
That was Representative, Chip Roy?
Representative Chip Roy. Republican. Chip Roy.
Chip Roy.
That's a fake name.
It sounds like one of those ice cream cones that you like, if you eat it all, you get it for free.
Oh,
like it's the Chip Roy, the Chip King.
Hey, welcome into Big Ted's. If you can eat the entire Chip Roy, you and your family eat free.
They serve it to you in like one of those little sinks. Or
right. A Chip Roy contains 1.5 gallons of Rocky Road ice cream smothered in ooey gooey hot fudge and caramel, topped with pralines and nuts.
There's nothing that
There's
nothing gets me more gross than the overeating competitions. Like I get so grossed out by that. I just like, it makes me crazy. I can't watch those. I can't, like when those people do like the chowing down competitions, I'm just like, I'm like that guy from fucking Stand By Me. I'm ready to throw up on the audience.
Yeah, dude, that shit is appalling.
It really is.
And it is also like, it is this like weird cultural like horror where it's like, oh, look, people are hungry. I'm eating so much food. I'm sick. And I'm doing it as a competition.
It feels so uniquely American.
It feels so much like a fuck you. They should hold it.
It really does.
Like the only thing that would make it worse is like holding it in front of a soup kitchen.
I know, right?
You know what I mean?
Like that's what it feels like. It feels like, it's like those people who make those videos where they just dump a bunch of shit on the counter and then they mix it up with their hands.
Yes.
Have you ever seen it? I want to just walk in and just slap every person in that video and just be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah,
like, oh, I made this in my toilet. I'd be like, you should go in your toilet. That's where you belong. Anyway, Roy,
back to the Chip Roy.
Chip Roy says,
gooey hot fudge. So Mr. Roy, I almost called him Mr. Chip Roy.
Mr. Chip Roy.
I'm calling him Mr. Chip Roy.
Do it.
Mr. Chip Roy is referring to and cherry picking comments made by Rochelle Walensky.
Cherry picking,
you put
right
it right on top.
You pick the cherry and then you pick it right up.
The director of the CDC about the agency's guidance on COVID-19 vaccines as well as the rationale. In August of 21, when a surge in COVID cases caused by the most infectious Delta variant prompted the CDC to encourage people to wear masks in public again, Dr. Walensky appeared on CNN to explain the updated guidance. Asked about breakthrough cases, fully vaccinated people who nonetheless catch the virus, Dr. Walensky stressed the importance of inoculation despite the fact that the vaccines did not appear to prevent breakthrough infections. They said, quote, our vaccines are working exceptionally well. They continue to work well for Delta. With regard to severe illness and death, they prevent it. But what we can't do anymore is prevent transmission. So they're skipping the whole part about how the vaccine makes it so much fucking safer if you catch COVID.
And this is where people use these very selective terms to get around like what it really does to try to make it out. Like, and Tom, we have people, senators, who are now trying to say vaccines are so unsafe. I'm going to tell you that the CDC, I mean, like, what the sweet fuck is going on?
They're trying to kill us.
They are.
They're literally
literally trying to kill you.
We're still like, this is making me fucking nuts. We are on the verge of rolling back the emergency declaration.
Yeah.
The COVID emergency declaration. For some context, the September 11th, 2001 terrorist emergency declaration is still in effect.
Is it really?
It is still in effect.
No kidding.
No kidding.
Wow.
You know how many people died fucking 9/11? 3,000. Yeah. We're still losing 500 people a day.
Yeah.
It's 9/11 every 6 days.
Yeah.
Right now, based on our current numbers from this morning.
Sure.
And we're just like, yeah, you know what's over?
Yeah.
The fucking
man.
We are opening ourselves up to a world of continued hurt. And this causes people who are on the periphery, people who are immune compromised, they are going to live forever in the margins because we can't get our shit together. Because senators are like, You know what the vaccines do? They give you double autism monkey AIDS or whatever fucking horrible claims these monsters
these
make.
Monsters will get up there and they'll say this terrible shit. And they know that this is 100% winning them voters.
Yeah, man.
There's so many uneducated and undereducated people in this country that they're all willing to throw away their health to like win an argument or whatever.
Yep.
They are willing to immediately, without any proof whatsoever, blame something on the vaccine, right? Immediately, without any proof whatsoever. That should tell you everything you need to know about their methodology. That should tell you everything you need to know because they don't know anything. The only thing they're trying to do is confirm their biases as soon as possible, and they have no proof to back it up.
And the thing is, like, think about this as a true thing for politicians, right? If they are willing to weaponize the vaccine for votes, that means they are comfortable with killing a non-zero number of people to keep their job.
Yeah.
How many people would you kill to keep your job? I would kill 0 people.
Jesus, man.
That is a true statement.
I know,
like
man.
They are willing to say,
I know.
I will. There is a non-zero number of people that I'm willing to let die.
There are many of these politicians that you know for sure are double vax, triple vax,
fucking 100% right, man.
Vax up as often as they can get it. And they are lying to their constituency
while they're getting the poke,
blowing this up as much as they possibly can just for votes. And that's despicable. I will say too, I just noticed this the other day. I was looking to see what the COVID vaccine thing is now. Anybody can get another vaccine if you haven't got it in 2 months. I went on there and like,
really?
I did my thing and I was like, yeah, I didn't get one in 2 months. And they didn't ask me any other questions.
Oh, really?
So they didn't ask any other questions. So you could just go there and just say, hey, this was a thing. I'm actually going on a trip this summer.
Yeah.
And I'm planning on getting it like a month and a half before I leave.
Yeah, I think that's wise.
And I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm just going to get it a month and a half before I leave. So that 6 weeks in, I'm at my highest immunity that I can be.
Sure.
And then hopefully I don't get sick while I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's wise.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
That's what we're in a place where a constant vigilance and a constant, like a regular vaccination schedule may be required.
Yeah.
Because this shit is still circulating.
I will. If they say you can get it every 2 months, I might get it 4 or 5 times a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't,
why not?
It's not let me tell you that COVID is terrible and the effects of long COVID have been shown to be really genuinely terrible.
Horrible.
So if I can avoid it at all costs, I will.
Yeah, man. Same.
Hey, psst, over here. Hey. Did you forget Valentine's Day? Well, I got you, okay? Because when you go to adamandeve.com and use code GLORY, you get half off almost any one item. Now, I know, did you order something overseas but it got shot down by the U.S. Navy? I got you. Use code GLORY at adamandeve.com. Because when you do, not only do you get the 50% off thing that I mentioned, a second ago, you get 3 free gifts, one for you and maybe you and you again, or you could share it with people. It's fine. And also 6 free spicy movies. I mean, you like the spicy, you like, don't talk too loud. You like the spicy movies, especially on Valentine's Day. You dip those movies in some chocolate and damn, boy, you got a stew going or something. Never mind. And also free shipping. So that's free. That's like love already. We're giving you just some love to you. So go to adamandeve.com and use code GLORY, just in case you forgot to do the ad. I mean, forgot to get a Valentine's Day gift, last minute kind of situation. You know what I mean? It's not like 10 p.m. before this episode is supposed to go up. No, it's I mean, till Valentine's Day, you should go to adamandeve.com and use code GLORY. Psst, okay? So do that. Thanks. Dip it in some chocolate today. You know what I mean? Just sometimes dip whatever you got in some chocolate. I'm sure somebody's going to eat it off or something. That, don't sit there too long with the chocolate. That's probably not good for you. But just use code GLORY. It's fine.
Jesus wants you to spread the word. Small circle of salt and star within.
This story comes from religiondispatches.org. Behind the inclusive sounding ads of this $100 million PR blitz for Jesus, it's the same old conservative Christian fantasy.
These, you probably haven't seen these. You don't watch commercials.
No.
So
have you seen them?
Yeah. So I see these all the time because I watch sports. Right.
Yeah. So you're exposed to commercials.
I see it all the time. And funny enough, I don't watch all the commercials in between. What I do is as soon as the commercials come on, I normally skip because I watch sports in arrears.
Mm-hmm.
I wait 2 hours and then start the thing so I don't have to sit through the commentary. I don't know. When I watch a football game, I have a 30-second skip on my controller. It's amazing for football, Tom, because they hike the ball, they throw it down the field, guy gets tackled. I press 30-second skip. They are back at the line, ready to hike the ball again. And so the guy says 2 or 3 numbers, hikes the ball, the next play happens. As soon as he gets tackled, I hit skip and it does it again.
So you can fast forward a game?
I essentially fast forward the whole game and I can watch every snap until they get to, when they're trying to go no huddle, which is, they normally take longer than 30 seconds.
So toward the end of the game?
Or shorter than 30 seconds. So it's normally very fast. So I can't do it all the way through the game, but I can do it through most of the game.
So how fast can you watch a game?
In about an hour and 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I can just,
what is it, like 3 hours
Yeah,
normally?
it's 3 hours normally. So I can normally watch about an hour and 15. It's a little longer because, it's an hour long. You would, if you just cut out all the stuff and you just ran the clock or whatever, it would be an hour because it's a 15-minute periods. But it would, I could finish in about an hour and 15 minutes. In any case, these commercials will come on when I skip through the commercials. So I'll skip 1, 2, 3, 4 normally. And that's normally not enough to get through, but sometimes it is. And I'll catch a commercial once in a while.
Right.
And I'm getting these commercials where it's like this high production value thing, and their message in here is, yes, that Jesus, or Jesus is the answer, basically, is what they're saying. And the commercials, Tom, very much feel progressive. I know they're not progressive, right?
But they have that feel to them.
But they have that feel to them, and they do things, they say weird shit like, Jesus was an immigrant. And you're just like, and it catches your attention. You're like, wait a minute, I don't hear a lot of Christians talking like that.
Right.
But these are definitely done by people, I think, trying to reach a more progressive audience with a progressive message. And they are hardcore Christian groups that are normally very conservative, but they will take what they can get.
Yeah, well, the article indicates that this is financed by the Koch brothers, or Koch brother. I think there's one dead now. So the Koch people.
The Koch guy.
And it seems from like
he's not my Coke guy. He's a Coke guy, but he's
just a polar bear. It's just financed by a polar bear.
I think of a different kind of Coke, Tom, but sure. Yeah. I was thinking about that guy who's sort of humming in the corner, bouncing around a lot, who's always like, hey man, you want to do a bump? You want to do a bump? You want to do a bump? Anyway.
So and what they've indicated is we want to bring them in and then we'll essentially indoctrinate them into the hard right.
Yeah.
So it makes sense, right? Let's appeal to them at the level that they're at. Let's appeal to them on these values that they hold, and then we'll get them to accept this messaging, and then we'll just shift the window on them.
Yeah.
And that's fucking scary. $100 million effort to do this is to get people who have progressive values that are also susceptible to the messaging of Christianity to say, oh, well, welcome in. We also have that message. And then as soon as you get here, what we're going to do is we're going to immediately start to shift and indoctrinate, bring you further right, bring you further right. They're not going to be influenced by a migrancy of left-leaning thought into their organization, right? That's what's not going to happen. What they're absolutely going to do is bring you in and shift you right.
Yeah.
And bring you in and shift you right. And that is fucking awful. That is fucking awful. And to use the values that people have and to sort of use their values as a way to wedge their way into the door of your heart in order to then change your heart. Holy shit, is that mean?
Yeah, man, it is. It is. And this is one of those things too, I feel like football feels like the place where they want to be.
Yeah.
Because there was so much. Do you remember how much pushback there was just from a guy kneeling down?
Yeah, man. Football is
when I went to go see the Bulls.
That's their real church.
I went to go see the Bulls recently. I had tickets to go see the Bulls. My wife got them for me for Christmas. We went to there. And we went on Martin Luther King Day. So it was the day before Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And we went in and they had a ceremony and all kinds of stuff. It was really very excellent. And they sang the Black national anthem, something I had no idea
I didn't even know that existed.
Right?
Yeah.
Very cool. It was really interesting.
Never heard of that.
Raise Every Voice, I think is what it's called.
Huh.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's Raise Every Voice is what it's called. But in any case, it's a progressive, and it also is a person of color audience. There's a lot of people of color that watch basketball and that enjoy basketball. And then, like the game is, the crowd is very diverse. It's just a diverse crowd. And I think it's more, I don't feel like I see these nearly as often as I see them with football. Football has this, you saw the kind of stuff that happened when somebody, a black guy knelt down.
Yeah.
And they flipped their shit,
Yeah, man.
They went crazy. And I think there is a lot of God, guns, and, whatever in
football is the American rights sport.
It really feels like it is. And so they know this market and they're going for it. But what surprises me is the progressive message. That's what surprises me. But it's a false message because the money behind it is a lie.
Yep.
They are the money behind it is all about anti-immigration.
100%,
It's all about funding politicians that are anti-immigration and anti-gay and anti-inclusive. And so it's just a big fucking lie, and they're just lying to these people. But, if you make it slick enough, I don't know. A commercial for Jesus.
A commercial
for Jesus.
And the campaign is, he gets us.
Yeah.
He gets us. I actually want to read from the chat in here because the chat will really articulate this. So one of the journalists that was involved posed as somebody who was opposing this message as being anti-woke in order to sort of get the real message out.
Yeah.
So if you scroll down, there's messaging in here. Where one of the journalists is posing as somebody complaining about this. They say, I worry people might get the wrong idea too. Like your video on your website makes Jesus sound like BLM or Antifa. Doesn't that start people off on the wrong foot? BLM is Antichrist, so shouldn't we keep Jesus as far away from that as possible? So that's the Poe, right?
That's the guy, he's just trying to
get them to expose the real agenda. And he says, and the response is, I honestly couldn't say either way. I don't believe that our ad is meant to make Jesus sound like BLM or Antifa. As sure as heck he was not. Rather, it's our hope that those sorts of people would engage us in order to be radically transformed by Jesus.
Yeah.
He's saying there, look, I get it. That's not actually our message. We're just using it. The goal is to get people in the door, and then we will radicalize them.
Yeah.
They might call it radically transformed by Jesus, but that is radicalizing.
Yes.
That's what that is.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. So the story comes from Mediaites. Immediate. Footage of Paul Pelosi attack should dispel conspiracy theories, but it won't.
Did you watch it?
I didn't. Did you watch it?
I did.
I did not watch it.
Dude.
I did want to see someone get hit by a hammer.
Holy shit.
I felt weird by it.
Holy shit, dude. First off, trigger warning. If you are triggered by violence, do not watch this video. It is terrifying.
Oh,
it is so pants-shittingly terrifying. Paul Pelosi smartly figured out a way to coded call 911.
I read the transcripts.
He coded
so
call,
smart.
He swiftly, coded call. And then he said he wanted to get something to drink, right? So that's how he could call, right? So he's holding a glass of water in his hand. And this guy is standing there with a hammer. And when they open the door, everybody looks surprised except for Paul.
Right.
The guy behind that door who has the hammer is like, what the fuck?
Right.
And then the people outside are like, what's going on? And you could sort of feel like Paul is like, I am safe now.
Right, yeah.
I was terrified a few seconds ago. I wasn't sure I was going to survive this. I am safe now. And that's when the dude just lunges at him. And you don't see the hit.
Oh, God.
But what you hear after it's over is Paul just sounding like he's going into a seizure.
Oh, God.
Like it's that bad.
Right.
And They couldn't stop it. It was too fast. As soon as he sees the police and there's like a moment of recognition, this guy turns to go after him. Paul tries to grab the hammer and he can't, and he gets walloped in the face with it. And so they both fall down. You don't see it. It's off camera, but it is terrifying to watch. It seriously looks like a serial killer. Like it's terrifying. Oh my God. And the problem is that Paul gets his house broken into in the middle of the night. You know, Trump is out there saying they were breaking out, not in, right? Even though there's video of them breaking in, people are saying, oh, that person was trying to break out of the house because they're Paul Pelosi's gay lover or whatever. Because they want to they want to slander this guy somehow. Because that's how they think they can slander him.
Which, like, none of that is true, right?
Yeah.
The guy was actually politically motivated, which they don't want to acknowledge. But I also just want to back up and say, even if that was his gay lover, that doesn't mean he should be mocked for being beaten with a hammer. So like it just tells you everything about the fucking valueless monsters.
The vindictiveness and the awfulness of that. Yeah.
What does this say about like how they view gay people?
Yeah.
Gay people should get hit by hammers.
Yeah.
Gay people attack other people. Yeah. It doesn't matter if gay people are beaten.
Yeah.
Like, just even if you accept, and we should,
there's so
but
many
even if you accepted their message
things about that,
right?
You can't even count them all. They're just gross and disgusting. And you know, immediately people were talking about this conspiracy theory that they were, they were entangled.
That they were concocting.
And that was the problem. That was the issue. That was what was going on. And I mean, they're talking about it on Fox News.
Yeah, man.
This isn't
Tucker Carlson had people on.
This isn't like some, fucking weird no-show crazy thing on BitChute.
Nope.
This is main network television where people are like, no, this could have been different. And in fact, there's another story that's attached to this, Tom. Elon Musk tweeted while this was going on.
Yep, I remember this.
Elon Musk tweets out, he says, there's a tiny possibility there may be more to this story than meets the eye, and it's about Paul Pelosi.
Yep. And it's from some garbage nothing, right?
Yeah.
It's from smobserved.com. The awful truth, Paul Pelosi was drunk again and in a dispute. And it's trying to pin the blame on the victim, right?
Yes.
Rather than to acknowledge that we have so radicalized the right in this country that time and time and time again, people on the fucking right are attacking other human beings and trying to kill them for politically motivated reasons because the right is so far out of control.
And what happens here is, you remember that old statement? It's like, they print the retraction on page 10 or whatever. You know that old, that old statement?
Yeah.
That's what this is.
That's what this is.
This retraction, he says he apologized when somebody says, idiots on the left want Elon Musk to apologize for Pelosi. For what? It is still a questionable and bizarre situation between two men in their underwear. No, it's not true. No. One of them was in their underwear because someone broke into his house. And it says, nonetheless. And now, first off, saying nonetheless means you acknowledge that this is weird, right?
Yep.
First off, don't say nonetheless.
Because you grant the position.
You're saying, I kind of agree, but I still apologize. And that's bullshit, right?
It is bullshit.
But he apologized for it, and then they asked, what are you apologizing for? And he posts this tweet that basically says, yeah, I apologize for it. But really, genuinely, this is a thing that's just, it stirs itself up on that side, and they just fucking freak out about this.
Yeah, man. And there was an attack. There was that guy like last week or the week before. I can't even remember anymore.
They're just they blend together.
Right. Who was targeting Democratic politicians, who's trying to like kill them. And like, we are at a place now where, you got Alex Jones and Pizzagate, and you've got QAnon, and you've got the fucking
pipe bomber,
and you've got this fucking guy. We have an endless string of right-wing terrorism.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And our politicians
kidnapping the governor.
Yes, trying to kidnap
We
Whitmer.
can go through.
You literally
we could finish the show today and talk about individual instances of this.
And we would not get them all.
We wouldn't get them all. We'd forget some.
The right has become so violent in their rhetoric, so dismissive of reality, so absolutely willing to rewrite history as we live it.
Yes.
As we fucking live it. It is absolute 1984 doublespeak. And that is like, I'm not trying to be hyperbolic, but that's what that terminology is. To rewrite history as you live it.
Yeah.
That is literally what is happening when an event occurs like Paul Pelosi, who is a man broke into his home looking for Nancy Pelosi, looking for the fucking Speaker of the House in order to break her knees. We know that because that's what he fucking said. When that happens and that man gets attacked and immediately the right spins that and denies that reality of what happened, that is fucking absolutely doublespeak.
Yeah.
That is a rewriting of history in the present.
For anyone to think that Vladimir Putin...
Fucking hell, dude.
Tom, this is a callback, but then also like, so here's the thing. We remember when he was over in wherever he was and he was talking, Putin was next to him. Do you remember this when he was talking?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Somebody asked him and he said, no, I believe this guy over my own.
I looked into his fucking eyes.
I looked at his eyes and I believe him more than I believe my own security.
This KGB spy really fooled me.
He really pulled one over me. In any case, Trump said this out loud, but now he's doubling down on his stupid, right? Like, even if you think this guy never writes anything down, he always speaks extemporaneously, sometimes he's a dimwit and he says dumb shit and, there it is. But look at how many times he's said dumb shit and then he has doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down.
Everything down.
Look at a circle, a fucking weather map where he has to draw a circle on it to show that he's not wrong about it continuing on. It's literally drawn on. There's nobody in the audience who doesn't see that you did that with a Sharpie.
It's the most clear thing. And now we have Trump make shocking comments. There's nothing shocking anymore. About trusting Putin over U.S. intelligence lowlifes.
Yeah.
Unless you think that's out of context, here's what he truthed. Remember in Helsinki when a third-rate reporter asked me essentially who I trusted more, President Putin of Russia or our intelligence lowlifes? My instinct at the time was that we had really bad people in the form of James Comey, McCabe, whose wife was being helped out by Crooked Hillary while Crooked was under investigation, Brennan, Peter Strzok, whose wife is at the SEC, and his lover, Lisa Page. Now add McGonigal and other slime to the list. Who would you choose, Putin or these misfits?
Who's in charge of who's hiring?
Well,
you know what I mean? Like these are your guys.
Right.
These are your guys. Like, look, man, if
James Comey won you the election, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Like James Comey has literally won you the election.
He never got rid of McCabe, did he?
I don't even remember, man.
I don't know. It's a fucking revolving door.
The number of people that he got rid of and how fast, I don't even know. But also the idea that anybody would be like, you know what? I trust Putin. Putin, a man who said, I'm not going to invade Ukraine until the moment he invaded Ukraine. A man who's single-handedly attempting to wipe out a nation of people with terroristic attacks against their domestic civilian population. And we're going to be like, yeah, I trust him more than somebody who's on the other side of my political aisle.
It's so embarrassing that there's so many people in this country that are like, he's a great negotiator. And he's obviously won over by a guy who you couldn't trust him as far as you could throw him.
Right.
And he's proven time and time again that he's not telling you the truth and that he's trying to manipulate you and he's trying to trick you.
Putin is an actual monster. Yeah. He will be remembered by history as one of the worst monsters in history, right? He's the number of fucking dead on his watch is unbelievable. And the violence that he's willing to perpetrate against the Ukrainian people for his own political ends is staggering. And the idea that in the midst of that actual existential war for the fucking fate of another sovereign nation, the former president and actual contender for the next president is like, I trust that guy.
Yeah.
If he wins, our support for Ukraine vanishes overnight.
Yeah. Oh, no, you're absolutely right.
He will on a silver platter, licking Putin's balls while he does it. He will hand Ukraine to Russia. You're absolutely
right. And I would be terrified to be in Ukraine at that point because it's terrible. I mean, it's just genuinely terrible.
Yeah, it'll be a bloodbath. If Russia takes Ukraine and seizes it and holds it, the reprisals, and we know this because the towns that they grabbed control of, the human rights abuses in those towns were fucking legion, and they're documented and they're on film, and it's not like conspiratorial. Like they rape and summarily execute and torture people. They found, I don't want to get too gross, but in the New York Times, they found boxes of teeth that had been pulled from prisoners. They are torturing the civilian population.
Jesus Christ, dude.
The horrors that they're perpetrating cannot be overstated. They can't be.
Good Lord.
So if they take Ukraine,
yeah, man,
the Ukrainians will suffer unbelievable misery.
It's a disaster as it is. And then this guy has been, and he was for the whole time he was in, was doing whatever they wanted.
He was a fucking lapdog.
It was gross.
Yeah, he's a fucking lapdog.
The fact that he doesn't trust the people that he's in charge of hiring and firing shows you all you need to know about his capability.
Yep.
I mean, he's literally, instead of replacing them with the best people, he just insults them on his social media platform.
That's it.
That's all he does.
That's all he can do.
Yeah.
That's all that he can do.
Ooh, that's racist.
Also from the New York Times, the College Board strips down its AP curriculum, its advanced placement, for African American Studies. The official course looks different from a previous draft. No more critical race theory, and the study of contemporary topics like Black Lives Matters is optional.
Also, there's another part that they added something new. Black conservatism is now added as well. So this is after heavy criticism from Governor Ron DeSantis, Tom.
Yeah. This is this is black erasure.
That's exactly what this is. That's exactly it.
This is Governor DeSantis is intentionally going through a process of structural black erasure. That is because, think about an AP class as a class for those international listeners. That's an advanced placement class. They're offered in high school, typically in the junior and senior year. And if you take an advanced placement class, after you take it, you take a test. If you get a certain score on the test, you get a credit that transfers over into college, right? So this is an opportunity to teach students about the black experience. That's what this is, about African-American history. That is an important, we need more of this, right? We need, white people in particular should be spending an enormous amount of our time in history trying to understand the experiences of minorities that we have oppressed in this country, to understand the reality of how our country structurally performs and was built. And we don't do that. And to go through the curriculum and to then sanitize it, to make the curriculum acceptable to bigots like Ron DeSantis, it just strips all the meaning and the value from this.
He is, this is so hateful.
Yeah.
It's such a hateful position. And it's so obvious and so unbelievably racist.
It's so
But
racist.
what it is it's winning points with a group of people in this country, because there are so many people. You ask somebody and they'll say, who's the most hated group? And they'll be like, oh, it's white guys. Those are the most hated group. You can ask so many people and they will say that that's the case.
Yep.
And so, what he's doing is he's feeding into anyone that is willing to think that and listen to that. And he's reinforcing it by saying, you're right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be your savior.
Yep.
I'm going to protect you from this in any way that I can. And the best way I can do it is because, these people hate the educated. They just hate the educated. And so what he's going to do is he's going to punish people as much as he can. And the punishment then just turns down. It basically what it does is he's going to punish us by making us ignorant.
Yeah, man. You're 100% right. The less educated people are about these particular topics, the less informed they are to make decisions about any of this.
Yeah.
The goal is to enforce and create a narrative of victimhood that it still holds a place of power and authority.
Yeah.
And they're doing a great job of that, right? If they can create this narrative of victimhood without ever ceding control to anyone, then they get both ends of the spectrum. They can have both sides of that equation.
Yeah.
Well, we're the victims, but we're still in power. We still have all of the authority. We still have all the money. We still have all the CEOs and all the, most of the Congress people and most of the, we still have all the actual structural power, but we're still victims. If they can have that, they get their cake and they get it to eat it too, right? It's a fucking clan-shaped cake, but they get to have it and they get to eat it too. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. And the way to do that is to keep people ignorant. Because if you were to teach everybody the 1619 Project, if you were to teach them the truth of how policing came to be in this country, if you were to teach them the reality of the horrors of the Reconstruction and the Jim Crow era and how long it took for any of that sort of structurally to move away after. People think that after the Emancipation Proclamation, it was like, well, I don't know why everything's not solved. That was 200 years ago. And you're like, well, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like you're an actual fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like you are, but you're not an idiot. You just are uneducated. And now the lack of education is intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It's intentional.
You're right. You're right. So we're gonna wrap it up today. We want to, of course, invite you to listen to this Thursday's show, which is going to be a deep dive on a long-form article about Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter from The Verge. Now, Tom reads this article aloud. We are going to post the reading of this article on our Patreon page. It's going to be free to everybody, right? So whenever this launches, is going to launch, you can go listen to it. We're going to make it go live, I think, the morning of the Thursday. Patrons will get it early, but the morning of Thursday, we'll make it go live for everybody. And then if you want to listen to it, you can go there and listen to Tom read that article from The Verge, or you could read the article yourself, and then you can listen on a regular podcast feed to our discussion of that on Thursday, this upcoming Thursday.
And see, so that's because this month we're giving away all the extras. So this month we want to kind of give you a whole month of all of the extras. You guys can kind of get a sampling of what we're going to do. And if you find it compelling, then we would encourage you to become a patron. When March rolls around, patrons at the $2 level will get the reading.
You reading it, yeah.
The reading of the deep dive articles.
And this is 45-minute article. It's a long article. This is not a short article. This is a long article. So you get a ton of audio there, and then you'll also get us talking about it afterwards. And so we're going to post it on Patreon. If you want to go listen to it, go listen to Tom read it. And there's no charge. It's not going to be charged to anybody. We're going to release it to patrons early, but everybody's going to get it on Thursday morning. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week. We'll catch you Thursday this week, and we're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter, mommy issue, hypno-Babylon bullshit. Couched in scientician, double bubble, toil and trouble, pseudo quasi-alternative, acupunctuating, pressurized, stereogram, pyramidal, free energy healing, watered downward spiral, brain deadpan sales pitch, late night info docutainment. Leo, Pisces, cancer cures, detox, reflex, foot massage, death in towers, tarot cards, psychic healing, crystal balls, Bigfoot, Yeti, aliens, churches, mosques and synagogues, temples, dragons, giant worms, Atlantis, dolphins, truthers, birthers, witches, wizards, vaccine nuts, shaman healers, evangelists, conspiracy, doublespeak, stigmata, nonsense. Expose your sides. Thrust your hands, bloody, evidential, conclusive. Doubt even this.
The opinions and information provided on this podcast are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of Glory Hole Studios, LLC. Cognitive Dissonance makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, currentness, suitability, or validity of any information, and will not be liable for any errors, damages, or butthurt arising from consumption. All information is provided on an as-is basis. No refunds. Produced in association with the local Dairy Council and viewers like you.